The problem with Reform UK, the policies are bad enough, but the personalities, and one in particular, Nigel Farage, is almost impossible to deal with. The man who launched 1,000 speeches, split a dozen parties, now seems to be breaking his own. And Reform UK has positioned itself as the voice of common sense, but lately it seems to be a seminar in chaotic self-destruction. In parallel, this morning we find Kemi Badenoch attempting to co-opt Reform's most inflammatory rhetoric, notably the Burka ban, to claw back voters. But neither the policy nor the politics are serious. Nigel Farage has a problem with his colleagues, repeatedly, dramatically, predictably. From Godfrey Bloom to Suzanne Evans, from Douglas Carswell to Diane James, from Ben Habib to Rupert Lowe, Loki, Arthur Lowe, Robert Lowe, now Zia Yusuf, the trail of broken relationships forms a pattern. Yusuf, Farage's supposedly trusted chairman, was gone in a puff of resignation and a tweet after a row over, of all things, a burqa ban that wasn't even Reform UK policy. Yusuf called the whole thing dumb, and of course he was right. It was opportunistic, poorly handled and intellectually unserious. Farage claimed he barely knew what was happening. Well, that's not a particularly difficult thing to imagine, is it? This is a familiar line. He often pleads distance while being the gravitational force of every implosion. The man cannot retain a team. That's not a political movement. It's a personality cult with commitment issues. When Rupert Rob Arthur Lowe, another Reform MP, accused Farage of acting like a messiah, he wasn't being metaphorical. Reform's internal structure appears more reminiscent of a petty court than a functioning party. Policy is made in television studios, decisions are briefed by WhatsApp, and resignations come with less notice than a Deliveroo order. If Reform UK were ever to reach power, one wonders whether anyone would survive the first cabinet meeting. Into this circus steps Kemi Badenoch, thinking she can out-reform reform. Her suggestion that employers should be allowed to ban burqas, that she would refuse to meet veiled constituents, and that first cousin marriage is the root of integration failure, is political music hall masquerading as policy, and her position on face coverings is incoherent. She opposes a national burqa ban while suggesting a private sector workaround, a soft cultural veto disguised as freedom. And where is her outrage over Catholic nuns, or Orthodox nuns, or Orthodox Jewish women who wear veils and wigs? Where is her policy on ski masks, biker helmets, or beekeepers? She singles out Muslim women under the thinnest veneer of integration. This is the same flawed logic used by those who attack halal meat while ignoring kosher butchery. That's gone through the Westminster Conservative channels and Reform UKIP. It's not about animal welfare, but about targeting one group for political gain. And, of course, the problem with the halal issue is that the people who are most likely to be hurt in the in the fallout are the kosher butchers. And the claim that the burqa is inherently repressive. Let's remember, oppression is not always visible. A woman forced into a burqa by a patriarchal household is indeed suffering a violation of autonomy, but so too is the woman forced to remove one by a state or an employer. One form of coercion cannot justify another. We should protect choice, not prescribe conformity. True liberalism respects the individual's right to choose modesty or flamboyance, niqab or miniskirt. That's not weakness, it's strength. Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage are not engaged in policy making. They are locked in a demagogic dance, each trying to outrage the other. But shouting louder does not constitute leadership, and scapegoating communities does not solve anything. Farage cannot manage a party, and Badenoch cannot manage her instincts. And between them lies the hollow core of British populism, loud, brittle, and distracted by costume politics. The real threats to national cohesion, housing, poverty, schools, health, global conflict, do not wear veils. They might smile, watching our politicians fixate on what Muslim women choose to wear instead of how British families struggle to live. As Juvenal asked in a different context, who guards the guardians? In this case, one might add, and who teaches them the difference between policy and posturing?